This channel explores moments of self-reflection that arise in everyday life. K-pop Demon Hunters leveled up K-culture. How many times have you already watched K-pop Demon Hunters? Recently, something interesting happened. A show appeared, and suddenly K-pop wasn't just music anymore. The story is simple. A K-pop girl group lives a double life. On stage, they're idols. Off stage, they fight demons threatening the human world. But what makes this interesting isn't the demons. It's the structure. They train together, move together, fight together. Their strength doesn't come from one hero. It comes from synchronization. That's a very Korean idea. At first, it looks playful, almost exaggerated. It's culture turning into a story, then a universe, then a genre. For years, K-pop wasn't only about songs. It built characters, narratives, emotional journeys. Fans didn't just listen, they followed. So when K-culture became a full fictional world, it didn't feel strange. When a culture grows large enough, people stop just consuming it. They start living inside it. That's when music becomes identity and fandom becomes belonging. K-pop Demon Hunters isn't really about demons. It shows how far K-culture has traveled from charts to screens to worlds you can step into. And once a culture reaches that point, it doesn't stay local. It becomes a place. Does democracy favor stability over truth? Walter Lippmann once wrote, "The manufacture of consent is capable of great refinements." We often imagine democracy as a system meant to serve the public, a way to align power with the common good. But democratic decisions rarely emerge from the public alone. They are shaped through negotiation, pressure, and organized interests. Stability depends on balancing competing demands. Over time, order can feel more urgent than truth. What begins as representation slowly becomes managed agreement. And maybe the real issue is not intention, but alignment. First, democratic systems rely on organized interest to function and negotiate outcomes. Second, compromises meant to preserve balance often soften uncomfortable truths. And third, power learns to move quietly within these arrangements. Decisions appear neutral, yet benefits concentrate. Rules are followed, processes respected, and conflicts reduced. But as consensus holds, private gains can grow unnoticed. In the end, power remains stable, while its direction quietly shifts away from the public. So now, what if you asked yourself, is political power meant to serve the public or organized interests? At what point did we accept power being used for private gain?
What would you honestly say?
How does society reward conformity? Alexis de Tocqueville once observed, "Freedom of thought is quietly limited in democratic societies. Social systems are not built overnight. They settle through long struggles, compromises, and survival." Because of that history, conformity often feels reasonable, even necessary. To live within society, individuals adapt to shared rules. Over time, fitting in feels safer than standing apart. What begins as cooperation becomes expectation, and conformity turns into a quiet social reward. It may be the real issue is not conformity itself, but how it is reinforced. First, social systems change slowly, even as society and values evolve. Second, rules that once ensured order remain, protected by familiarity and routine. And third, those who benefit from the current system allow outdated rules to remain, often justified under the label of efficiency. People conform to protect their livelihood, while deeper problems are left unresolved. Not because the system works well, but because no better alternative has been built yet. So now, what if you asked yourself, Why are systems that weaken individual identity so easily justified? Who benefits and who bears the cost of order and efficiency?
What would you honestly say?
When machines begin to decide, Norbert Wiener once warned, "The machine does not isolate man from the great problems of nature, but plunges him more deeply into them." For a long time, machines only followed human commands. Because of that, ethics remained a human concern. But today, machines select, prioritize, and act without direct instruction. As judgment enters the system, responsibility becomes less clear. This shift forces us to ask what values are now guiding those decisions. And maybe the real issue is not technology, but preparedness. First, ethical discussion around machines has focused on safety, not judgment. Second, autonomy is being introduced faster than moral frameworks can adapt. And third, decisions once made by people are now delegated to systems. These systems optimize outcomes, but accountability grows increasingly unclear. We move forward because efficiency demands it, not because ethics are settled. In the end, machines decide faster than humans, decide what should guide them. So now, what if you asked yourself, can machine morality be designed, or does it require human responsibility? When machines make decisions for us, who is accountable for the outcome?
What would you honestly say?
Do humans decide who we become? Francis Fukuyama once wrote, "What is at stake is the very grounding of our moral choices." For most of history, humans accepted life as something received, not designed. Limits were given by nature, chance, or fate. Today, science allows us to intervene at the very beginning of life, through editing and selection. As creation shifts into human hands, a deeper question emerges. Are we deciding who we become, or simply assuming that right? And maybe the real issue is not possibility, but authority. First, there is no historical precedent for humans, redesigning humanity itself. Second, the power to decide what counts, as better is unevenly distributed. And third, the consequences of these choices cannot be reversed. Once lives exist. Technology moves forward while ethical agreement lags behind. What begins as healing risks turning into selection? We hesitate not because the tools are lacking, but because no shared standard tells us when to stop. So now, what if you asked yourself, who gets to decide that humans can redesign life? When things go wrong, who takes responsibility for the lives created?
What would you honestly say? See you in the next video.